Hey, what did you talk about this week?
Welcome back to the Corporate Kitchen. I'm your host, Tiger. This week, we've been talking about company portfolios. I'm a little bit more excited to record this episode at the table than I was when we were in the kitchen on Tuesday, mainly because I know it's a little difficult to follow everything that we talked about. If you are at a point here that we're sitting down at the table and you're a little lost, this first example that I really want to get to should help you clear all the messages. It should clear everything up. You should get a lot more clarity on pretty much what this week is all about. If you are a car enthusiast or you like cars, you're really going to understand and enjoy this example. And as I talk, you're going to instantly pick up what I'm putting down. For those of you who aren't that big on vehicles and you aren't aware of the car manufacturing market, this example should be perfect for you. Once you hear it, everything should just make sense afterwards. Let's get into it. Basically, when we're talking about the company portfolio, let's take a car, for example. We're going to choose a Lamborghini. Everyone knows what a Lamborghini is, right? I think that's a very popular hypercar brand, very, for some crowds, luxurious, for other people, fast, but should be well known for all the listeners here. We know what a Lamborghini is. Lamborghini has an SUV, a sports utility vehicle called the Urus. So we're talking about the Lamborghini SUV, the Urus. If we were to break that car down and physically to take the parts off and disassemble it, outside of the parts that Lamborghini bought from different suppliers, would you expect that the remaining parts are all Lamborghini parts? If your answer to that is yes, that I'm talking to you then. This whole example is talking to you because the correct answer is no. Car enthusiasts know this. It's back of their head oh yeah, no, that's a no. The parts remaining that aren't bought from suppliers are not all Lamborghini parts. In fact, they should. There should be a lot of parts in there that say what? Audi. The Audi RSQ8 and the Lamborghini Urus should share some parts. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay with me. Everybody else, car enthusiasts, and those of you that are smiling listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not following, let's take it one step further. We have the Audi RSQ8, and we're saying that it shares some parts with the Lamborghini Urus. If we were to break down the Audi RSQ8 the same way we did the Lamborghini and looked at all the parts not bought by suppliers, is it 100% Audi parts? No. There should be Volkswagen parts in there. Specifically, the same parts that go into the Volkswagen Atlas. We're saying, or I'm saying, there are Volkswagen Atlas parts in an Audi RSQ8, and there are Audi RSQ8 parts that exist in a Lamborghini Urus. Transitive property would say there most likely are parts that go into a Volkswagen Atlas that goes into the Lamborghini Urus. Boof. If that confuses you or makes you say that doesn't seem right, this is the whole point of company portfolio. How would that make sense that a brand like Volkswagen would have parts that go into their vehicles, but also go into super luxury vehicles like a Lamborghini and even an Audi? This is the whole point, ladies and gentlemen. Car brands. The Volkswagen Group owns Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Bentley, and a few other foreign ones, but I'm sticking with the ones that are more well known in the United States. The Volkswagen Group owns all those brands, and there are common parts that are shared amongst those brands. If you listen to that and you didn't know that Volkswagen owns Bentley and Lamborghini, think about what you don't know that your company owns. And that's the point. That is the entire point of this week, is just having the knowledge and not being ignorant to your company's portfolio. When cars are such great examples of this, because if you don't know, you miss entirely. What do I mean by that? Here's another great example. Toyota has the Highlander and the Grand Highlander. If you take that Toyota symbol off and slap a Lexus symbol on there, you have the Lexus TX, pretty much. If you look at those two side by side, you're going to be like, wow, those vehicles are near identical. Well, Lexus owns them both. Toyota, not Lexus. Toyota owns both Toyota and Lexus. Makes sense that they would look kind of the same. We see this with GM. They own Chevy, Cadillac, GMC, Buick. There was a time in the 90s where when they had Pontiac and I'm missing one that also went out. But basically, there were Mercury. Mercury was the other one. But there was a time where you had 4 cars that looked exactly the same, or 4 SUVs, and all they had were different badges on each other, right? The Crown Vic, old police car, if you looked at the equivalent of that from the GM side, all those vehicles look the same. They just put different badging on it. Ford, for example, Ford is Ford and Lincoln. Hyundai is Kia and Hyundai. Oh, here's a really good one. BMW. BMW owns Rolls-Royce. How many of you actually knew that the BMW group owns Rolls-Royce? If you were looking in the market for a Rolls-Royce and you open the hood to see the engine in there, guess what engine you might find? Not a Rolls-Royce engine. You might find a BMW engine in there. For car enthusiasts, again, they live and breathe this. This is just normal knowledge to them. For those of you that aren't living and breathing this and aren't a huge fan of cars, I'm hoping this example is simple enough to help you understand how big some companies are and the importance of seeing that whole portfolio. In your eyes, you could think Lamborghini Urus is the most luxurious thing and unique thing ever, not knowing that, maybe, and I'm exaggerating here, but a quarter of the parts in there come from the Volkswagen Atlas. Atlas is just a quarter Urus. Like I said, exaggeration, but is it really? They definitely share some parts. It may be closer to like 10%, but it's the junior version. You'll hear people say that the Audi RSQ8 is a baby Urus, and they're not completely wrong in that statement. It's the same company. They do share some parts. Obviously, there are a lot more unique components put into it to separate it as a Audi versus a Lamborghini. The market, the buyers that they're trying to attract are different, have different tastes. Therefore, the features are tailored to different audiences. But at the core, they share a lot of the same parts and principles because it's under the same umbrella. When you understand this and you see it and you're consciously aware, you don't have to be a full car enthusiast to appreciate it. But the goal is to be consciously aware, because then when things happen, you understand the impact. What am I talking about? I'm going to stay on Volkswagen for a second because some of you may remember this, others may have not heard of this. Back in 2022, there was a large cargo ship that traveled from Germany to America. Volkswagen Group is a German-based company. A lot of their cars, especially the customized ones, built in Germany, and they have to get here, right? Cargo ship, pretty easy way to do it. Well, I'm not going to say easy, is a really common way to do it because you can transport a lot of cars, a lot of vehicles at one time. This cargo ship had about, I want to say 4,000 different vehicles from the Volkswagen Group that was traveling from Germany to America. And the ship sunk. 4,000 cars and the ship sunk. All those cars done for, completely totaled, not even recovered. The ship sunk, right? So those cars are sitting at the bottom of the ocean. But now we just talked about what the Volkswagen Group is. So what kind of cars sunk? It's not just Volkswagens. It's not just Atlas SUVs. We're talking a lot of Porsches, Bentleys, Lamborghinis that all just sunk. So now, if you're working for, let's say, Bentley or Porsche, and you wake up and you see the news and it says, cargo ship holding Volkswagens sinks, you can't disassociate that. It's direct association, right? If you were ignorant to the company's portfolio, you could hear the term and the word Volkswagen cargo ship or cargo ship full of Volkswagens and not even think to yourself like, oh my God, that affects me at Bentley. You get it? You get it how we have to keep those together, right? So you're working at Bentley. You check the news, cargo ship full of Volkswagen Group vehicles sunk. Uh-oh, this may not be good. This may not be good. You get to work and they're like, yeah, we lost a lot of Bentleys, Lamborghinis, Porsches. We're in trouble. And you will appreciate the knowledge that you gain from understanding your company's portfolio because when you see news like that, you react the proper way. When people bring it up, it's something that you're already aware of. I was at a company where we were really, really hoping to win a contract. I mean, we're talking probably in its lifetime, tens of billions of dollars. And we didn't win. Knowing the company's portfolio and how much impact this potential contract would have on the company also helped in my evaluation of understanding how much is the company in actual trouble. I did say the lifetime of the contract. So I could understand if people heard that and said, well, you said lifetime, so long term, maybe it's a problem, but short term, it really shouldn't be. You can only do that if you know the rest of the company. I did. And I had the same reaction that a lot of other people did of, uh-oh, layoffs are coming. They have to be coming. And sure enough, at some point, layoffs did come. And it didn't come as a surprise to anyone because there was a lot contingent on that contract. A lot of people were holding out for that contract. Understanding how the company settles the dust of not winning things based off of the portfolio that was left is something you can do on your own before the company announce it. And that's what I'm pushing to you and the first action item that we have for this table. Connect the dots. My action to you, connect the dots. You will be able to predict and know it's not a premonition. If the facts are out there, you can connect the dots and understand the decisions that have to be made. We may not agree with them. We may not want them. We may not believe that it's the best decision available. But if you do the proper analysis and you've connected all the dots to what's happening in the economy, in the world, with the weather, with the people, with the different products, assess that against your company's portfolio and its capabilities, the results should show you what the options are. And if one of the options are chosen and the company proceeds in that route, you were already aware. It was something that you were already aware of, and more importantly, you could prepare for. Again, we're going to do a later episode about company finances. You can predict how the company is going to do with finances, their specific financial performance, but you can also do it without it. When you are paying attention to the entire portfolio and you see things that happen that affect that, without even knowing the numbers, you can connect those dots and say, okay, we're either going to be in a great position or we're going to be in a horrible position, right? That's what I'm getting at. Connect those dots, see the news, understand what the news means to you. If you were working for the company TikTok and the United States was looking to ban TikTok, you can kind of have those conversations of, whoa, what does that mean for my job? How does that work for me? Right? Another really good one is the United States this year in 2025 have been talking about and recently instituted tariffs against other countries. You could look at that and make your own determination of how that's going to affect you and your company. You can do that without even getting the official company flow down communication, without getting to the point where you realize the effects from those causes. You can make those determinations on your own. And more importantly, connecting those dots help you to prepare for what's to come. Have the information, you have the view, you know, hey, this is going to affect product line A, but B through D product lines are safe and I can fall back on that. Pivoting out, and let's be a little bit more positive. I know I kind of gave a dreary view of, oh, layoffs are coming. Let's do a more positive example. One of the things that I really, really enjoy and that I've done frequently is conferences, going to different conferences, traveling there and meeting people at my company who work in different divisions, different business areas, whatever you want to call it, product lines. They don't work in the same area I do. That is one of the coolest experience ever because I get to learn about another part of the company that I normally wouldn't see on a day-to-day or wouldn't be able to pull a lot of information about from what I do on a day-to-day. One particular conference I went to was actually at my company's headquarters, and I got to meet people from every single area of the business, every single one. I made sure to have conversations with each one, understand what they do, understand the products that they support, understand a little bit how their business runs, and have a good conversation of comparing and contrasting my area to their area. See how much information they knew about my area to be able to do that comparison. And I gained insight of their area so I could do my own. What's really cool about that and gaining that knowledge is one, the preparation, as we talked about before, but two, and this is the second key action, networking across. You want friends, you want a network, you want to know people when you don't need them. Don't wait when you need something to now seek to achieve it. This is applied to so many things in life. I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Do your networking across the organization. If you're in a spot that you feel you could sit in forever and that's personally how you feel, go for it. Most of corporate America now, people don't last in their roles. People are constantly moving up and around and across different product lines within the company. There's also a lot of movement across companies in different industries, and I'll get to that in a second. The point is, when you're in a single company, practice networking across. Practice networking in the different areas of the portfolio so that you can prepare, but two, you gain the knowledge that you wouldn't have seen and experienced on your day-to-day. If you're in finance and you're in private equity, but your company also has a wealth management division, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go talk to some wealth management folks. Understand the differences that they have to deal with in that area versus where you are in the private equity side. You put all that information together, you can prepare your future and kind of plan your route of how you want to move up and where you want to end up. What's also really nice about networking across is that you get to meet individuals with different paths than you, and we never know where people end. So you're in private equity, they're in wealth management, they decide to go into consumer banking and become a vice president in consumer banking. You don't want to do private equity anymore, but now you've already learned wealth management, and now that person that you met in wealth management is a friend in consumer banking. There are 3 pathways right there that were created for one relationship. Think about doing that and magnifying that across multiple different industries, portfolios, and how big that can grow. Again, you never know where people end up. So if you focus on your company, focus on its portfolio, do that networking across, and let that network mature, you could be sprinkled across the entire globe with the work that you just did in your company. I want you to really take those opportunities, especially if your company does conferences, if they do trainings at different sites, if there are any other get-togethers or ability to network and talk to people from different areas in one spot. Take advantage of those. With COVID, that's kind of changed the frequency of those. Before, I would say those happen so much more often. I think we're at a point now where air traffic is becoming normalized to pre-pandemic levels. A lot of people are moving around. Executives are constantly on the move. However, when it comes to the conferences, when it comes to the centralized training centers and making sure that everyone meets in one central location to do on-site, in-person, we're all sitting in the same classroom type trainings, that sort of evolved with the integration of virtual collaboration tools. Not as many. The opportunities exist. It's just not as frequent. If you do get an opportunity, relish it. Even if you hate traveling, even if you really don't want to go, I'm pleading with they're just not as frequent. Use one as an opportunity to do action item number 2. I'm networking across, meeting people, understanding what they do, what that area does, gaining that corporate portfolio knowledge in order to build that Rolodex that you have, properly prepare yourself for the future. Also, another reason to do this and really expand on your company's portfolio, I'm going to give you a little cheat, little secret. If you have ambition to move up, let's say you're a senior level individual contributor, haven't been in management yet, or you're in management in the early stages, but you're not in middle or senior management, and you have ambition to move into the executive ranks. We're not going to say CEO, we're just going to say executive ranks. Part of your desires should be to build a strong team. Sometimes you have to stick with the team that you were given. Sometimes you're going to be able to build a whole team from scratch. Other times it's a hybrid. You get into a role and you're given a team. Some people choose to stay, some people choose to leave, and you can handpick replacements and successors to the people that leave. If you have an opportunity to build your team and you waited until you were in that position to identify potential candidates, you've lost so much time. You've lost valuable time, and you're really putting yourself behind the 8 ball because, again, now you're in a position of, I need it and I don't have it, instead of having it and not needing it, right? You make the connections early. You make the business friendships, the strong colleagues, and you can watch their performance to understand that says, oh, and you can say to yourself, you're a strong resource. And you would be someone that I want on my team in the future. They grow their career at the same rate you grow yours. That last step into executive you take first. And now you can call them and say, hey, you are a great engineer. You've been working up. I need you to come join my team. The third action is build your team. It's kind of a secret because it's not something that you verbalize. It's not, I don't go out and network with people and tell them, hey, I want you on my team. You're building the connections. I have the ambition that I want to move up and this is what I want to do. Therefore, I want to surround myself with people that I trust and people who I've seen perform. I've networked with a lot of people who have gone to be leaders very quickly, and I met them before they were leaders. That works out for me because when they need support, they're going to say, hey, Tiger, come join my team. I take that same logic to people under me, and I've also networked with a lot of people where I'm watching their performance so that I can do the same exact thing when I become a senior leader. I've seen this person when they came in, they've worked their tail off, they've performed, they're growing. I'm going to give them advice to make sure they are growing at a good rate and that they're getting some of the opportunities that they're seeking, and just watch their career. And they build and build. And by the time I'm a leader, this person might be ready or they may not, right? We don't want to necessarily put all our eggs in one basket and say, I must have this person. It's just an option. It's someone that I have. And it's not just one person. You network across and you network so broadly that it ends up being a solid 30, 40, 50. And calm down. It's not a lot of people. It's really not a lot of people. I can hear it in your voice now of like, oh, I'm not talking to that many people. You're not making friends with all these people and saying, hey, come to my house and have a beer with me. That's not the point here. We're talking about business relationships. We're talking about building a team. If you're going to be an executive, even at a small company, you're going to cover at least 50 people. You're going to know a lot of different people. between the people that you work with internally, your team, your customers. You're going to know a lot of people. So don't get scared when I say 30, 40, 50. This is going to be normal operating procedure when you get to levels like that. Don't be scared. And I stress it's just a business relationship because, yes, I'm getting to know them, but I don't need to talk to them every day. I don't need to talk to them every week. A lot of people I talk to are like twice a year. I just do check-ins. How's life? How's everything? How's the work? And based off of their answers and their updates, that's enough to make a good assessment on the person and say, wow, this person is doing well, continue to move up, or to say, okay, they're going a little bit flat, or they're in a different direction than I thought that they were going in. May not be someone that's available to me when I am at a senior leader position. You know those people that have that ambition to move up. They're not hiding their ambition. They're not hiding their drive to move up. It's very easy to understand who they are once you spot them. Spotting them is usually the hardest. Having those opportunities to walk in a room, meet people, and identify those that are like, hey, we're on the same trajectory. Again, those opportunities aren't as frequent, and we don't just walk up to people and say, hey, you want to be an executive? So use the opportunities that you do have. Build your team. Build your team. If you know you want to be an operations executive, you know you're probably going to need a quality leader, a safety leader, a operations manager, maybe an industrial if your company has that. And start that Rolodex. Start that Rolodex of people that, hey, I know this quality manager that's up and up. Person really wants to be a quality executive. Would probably be a good candidate. I'm going to watch their career from afar. And that's all it is. Check in. Hey, I got promoted. I'm now quality manager of a different product line. Oh, so not only are you getting experience here, but you're also getting experience over there too. You're becoming more well-rounded. You're probably going to be a good person that I should tap on when I'm over all of operations. That sort of thing. How it happened for me in a lot of my cases is one of the things I do that I'll share with you. And this will be the last story. I know I didn't give a lot of stories here, but I feel as though that car example should really help clear up everything that we talked about in the kitchen. So I'm hoping that was good. But the last story that I would share on building a team and what you could do is look at your company's organizational chart. I do this sometimes where I would pull up the organizational chart, start at the top, CEO, president, whatever, and work my way down to try to understand who did what and who does what. So hypothetically, CEO has all these different presidents, and the presidents are over the different business areas of the company. Okay, makes sense. But then you have all these people that report to the president. What do they do? And I would look into that and say, are you over the functional area? Are you over a product line in the functional area? Right? Once I understand that, and let's just say, a lot of these functional leaders were functional over the same area that the president was over. And then under one level below, it's broken up by product line. Now, I can see my leadership chain and say, I tree up to my product line area of the business division and then the division president. So if I wanted to network with someone across and there's no conference or training, I know I can just go up to the functional division leader, and look at the people that report to him. Just choose the person that's not my product line, choose someone in a different product line, and just go down their org chart. I don't know any of those people, but I do know they're not in my product line. Therefore, there's someone across from me in the same company. If it's available to see what product line they support, that's a good way to initiate a conversation. Hey, I'm in product line A. and you're in product line C, could we talk? Could we chat? I would love to know more about your product line. Hey, I'm in product line A, and you do D, E, F, and G. How is it that you're doing so many and I'm just doing one? Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? And I do that type of networking all the time in order to help that networking across, building those relationships across. Mind you, it's a mixed bag. Just because I reached out does not necessarily mean, one, I get a response from that person, and two, that that person is eager to talk to me. It's not a 100% win rate. It's more, I would say it's more like a 70% win rate out of every 10, 7 people. Yeah, out of every, I would say that for where I'm at right now, probably about 70%. Out of every 10 people I reach out to, 7 will say, yeah, let's absolutely have a conversation. 2 will never respond. And 1 person I may meet with and it'll be like, that first meeting is the last meeting sort of thing. So don't expect if you attempt to do this, don't expect 100% win rate. People don't have the time. People don't necessarily want to have the conversation. And that's okay, right? That is good news because you're helping weed out some of the potential candidates for you building your team. If you don't want to talk about your career, does that necessarily mean that you should be excluded from being a leader? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm building my team. So if you respond to me and we talk and build a relationship, build a mentorship, sponsorship, coaching, whatever, but we build that business relationship and understand each other. Now I have you on my Rolodex for when I become a leader and I can pull from it to say, bam, I already know this person. I need a director of quality. I've known this person since they were a quality individual contributor. They are now a quality senior manager. They're ready to become a director of quality. I'm going to tap this person, and this is my preferred candidate for the job. That's the point. And understanding the portfolio will help you identify some of those people and reach across the organization. If the people that you work with on an every single day basis, the people that I work with every day are great. I'm not downplaying them at all, but they're not the end all be all for you or for the company. A lot of people that I work with are more closer to retirement than they are to being able to support me when I'm a leader. How do I find more people? Do I just have to go with the people that they mentor? No. I reach across the organization in the way I just described to you, in the story I described to you, so that I identify more potential candidates, build that Rolodex, and bam, now I have a stack of 52 cards. I'm ready. I am ready to play. That is the key. Prepare yourself by connecting all the dots. Network across the organization with any opportunity that you have, especially the ones that are in person. And use all that information to build a Rolodex so that you could build your team. At the point in time where you become a leader and you get to choose bodies, you would already be prepared and you would have already networked. The Rolodex is there. You're ready to do some true damage. Oh, I just remembered. I should tell you about...
Hey, you said last story. Can you wrap this up?
Oof. Okay. I enjoyed working on this menu item with you this week, but let's come to an end while it's still hot. Remember, the ending to one story is the beginning of another. There will be more in store next week at the Corporate Kitchen. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Tiger. Until next time.